I am ready to work on my first report. I'm the instructor, so naturally enough, this says Instructor Report. And also naturally enough, this is my first one, so it's Instructor Report 1. I will be using the same format for all the instructor reports. Namely, the problem will actually be stated within the text. If you click on the link, what you'll be able to get by clicking on that link is a PDF of my report. Now, I actually like the preview in the notebook better than this, so we'll be focusing on that. But I know that some of you might just like to have a separate file that you can print or don't need a browser to look at, and so I've provided that. There are some things I don't like about having to do the spacing and so forth. One nice thing about reports that you can view in browsers is you don't need to have page breaks like we do here. So here, in order to fit the graph and the figure heading, the caption, all together, I had to actually skip to the second page, leaving a lot of blank space. We won't see that when we look at the preview of my R notebook. So I'm just showing you that these PDFs are available for you if you want them. If you want to download it, there's an option to download the PDF. This is actually being fed to you from Box. And so if you click on download, you can download it from the cloud right to your computer and take it and show it to your friends and neighbors, or do with it whatever you want. Print it out and throw it away, print it out and start a bonfire, whatever suits you. Then down here, you'll see the link for the R notebook that I use. This is what you're really going to want to focus on, because when you do your reports, you're going to want to start with my R notebook and then tweak it. Start by renaming the file and tweak it so that it fits your data. That's going to be the easiest way for you to get your reports done, is to start with my notebook and turn it into your notebook. Now, before you can start using this R notebook, I am assuming that you have gone through the R videos or you have used R in the past. Going through the R videos was something that I mentioned in the introductory assignment. And as I stated in my welcome videos, you need to do the assignments in order. So if you're here looking at this video now and have not done the introductory assignment and gone through the R videos, you need to stop this video right now and go and do that, because I am not going to reteach how to do project setup or how to convert Excel files into CSV files or any of that. So you need to go through those videos before you go through this one. But let's assume that you've already done that. The data are shown right here. In this particular case, I'm telling you that the data is in an Excel spreadsheet. So you'll want to download this and turn it into a CSV file. And that way you'll be ready to read it into R. What we're going to need to do in order to take apart this particular research setup is we're going to have to look at what all the variables are for the data. So let's do this. Let's read what my problem is, what my research question is that I want to address here, and then we'll look at the data I have that I can use to try to address that question. The HSB2 data are from a random national sample of 200 high school seniors. The data were collected and released by the National Center for Education Statistics. Write a report that compares the reading scores of students who come from families in different socioeconomic, or SES, categories. Begin your analysis by examining the proportion in the sample from each category. previous research has demonstrated achievement gaps for different ethnic groups. Suspecting that one reason for this might be the different percentages of SES categories within these groups, compare the SES composition of the ethnic groups in this sample. So let's start taking this apart. Okay, we have 200. We have reading scores. We have SES. And we're also told that we're going to have ethnic groups in the sample. So let's look at the description of these data, which is found on this link right here. Okay. So again, I'm told that these data are from a random sample of 200 high school seniors. I'm told they're collected by the National Center that's actually for Educational Statistics, as I said in my prompt. And this was in 1980 as the first phase of a longitudinal study. So I have here the variables ID, gender, 0 for male, 1 for female, ethnicity, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's listed under the variable name race, SES, and so forth. So this is the data code book that you all know about from your first statistics course. You also know that we're going to have two primary types of data: categorical data and quantitative data. The ID number is simply categorical. Even though it's given to us as a number, it just represents a person. So this is really a categorical data where you have 200 categories, that is 200 people, because you have 200 high school seniors. Gender is also going to be a categorical variable. Race, categorical, SES. School type, public or private. Program. And then once you get done with those, now we get into the test scores. And these test scores now are going to be quantitative variables. So all these beginning variables are categorical, and these variables here are quantitative down here. All right, so now let me take apart the problem. So I have to compare reading scores of students who come from families in different SES categories. All right, so let's map this out here a little bit. Okay, so I have reading scores. I'll just call that read. And so this is going to be quantitative. And then I am going to compare this for SES categories. So that's going to be categorical, or what we call factors. Okay, so think about this. One quantitative, one categorical variable. All right, so when you have one quantitative and one categorical variable, we are going to have a visual analysis or graphical display available to us. We're going to have descriptive statistics available to us, and we're going to have inferential statistics available to us. And you should know what each of those things are that we're going to do. The inference we're going to review next week, so set that aside for now. But what's the graphical display when you have one categorical and one quantitative? It's side-by-side box plots. And what are the descriptive statistics? Well, what we're trying to do is compare the distributions of reading scores for each SES category. And so you can pick any variety of statistics from these different SES categories. The key is that we want statistics within each category. So descriptive statistics within each category. So what are some of the descriptive statistics we might be interested in? Perhaps the mean and standard deviation? Perhaps 5-number summary, which would include the minimum, the first quartile, the median, the third quartile, the maximum. I'll just call that summary. It's a 5-number summary. And we're going to want those within the different categories of SES. Let's review what those were here. Those are low, middle, and high. Right now in the data set, they're indicated as 1 for low, 2 is middle, and 3 for high. Then I have another part of my analysis. I'm going to examine the proportion in the sample of SES categories. So that is how many in low SES in my sample, how many middle SES, how many high SES. So for that, I'm just going to have one variable. Let's draw a little line here. So I just have one variable, and I am going to be looking at one categorical variable, or one factor. So with one categorical variable, what is the graph? It's a bar graph, right? What statistics? Well, we can look at frequencies and proportions in each category. Proportions will not depend or will not be skewed by the sample size, and therefore using proportion would be a good way to go in our bar graph. That way we could compare one sample to another sample, even if they're different sample sizes. And I think there's one more thing that we need to look at here. Previous research has demonstrated achievement gaps for different ethnic groups. One reason might be the different percentages of SES categories within these groups. So compare the SES composition of the ethnic groups in the sample. So what do I have now? I have SES and I have race, different ethnic group, and both of these are categorical. So now I have two categorical variables. What do I do when I have two categorical variables? What is the picture? It's stacked bar plots. And what are the descriptive statistics? Well, again, we're looking at proportions, but this time we have to look at conditional proportions. So now we've got to think, do I want my proportions to be conditioned on SES, or do I want them to be conditioned on race? Well, what is the explanatory variable? Do you think that race may be determined at least in part by SES, or SES might be in part a function of race? It's that second one, isn't it? and therefore race is the explanatory variable. So I will want proportions conditioned on race, meaning that within each ethnic category, I'll want them to add up to 100%, or proportionally 1. So proportions or percentages within race category. And that's it. So I have 3 different analyses that I am going to do to address 3 questions. Notice that I did not just jump into trying to set up my R script and my R notebook, but rather I planned it all out. So now that I have it planned out, now it's just following the plan. So let's start doing that in the next video.